Hey everybody, this is Eli Freestone, and you're watching my message in a bottle video for PMA 3-12-12. So I'm just going to give you some quick advice and show you a couple resources that I would have really loved to have had when I was getting ready to go into the coding portion of our degree program. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So first off, time management is extremely important. I know it can be really difficult when you have a family and a job to really schedule everything. So there's not really, I wish there was some sort of a magic formula that would work for everybody, but everybody's situations are different. So the best advice I can really give is to start your projects as early as you can, because especially in the early days of programming, if you have no programming experience, you're going to have issues. So you want to have as much time as possible to really work through everything. And you don't ever want to try and start a project at the last minute. You're just going to give yourself a ton of stress. It's just going to go badly. So start as early as you can is really the best advice I can give for time management. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to text editors. Again, several people will tell you, this one's the best or that one's the best. You should try this one. Yada, yada, yada. Really the best bet is to just try as many of them as you can and find the one that works best for your needs. They all have a little bit different feature sets, different layouts, so what works for one person might not work for the next. So just try as many as you can, find one that works for you, and just go with it. So that brings me to my next advice. Figure out as early as you can how you think. And what I mean by that is some people think more like programmers, where they're focused on the code itself. They're trying to think of the best way to do this, what's the most efficient way to do that, so on and so forth. And then on the other side of the spectrum, there's the designers, the people that think like designers, I should say, that don't really focus much on the code at all. As long as it's working, they don't really care. They're focused on how the end result looks and feels to the user. I personally fall kind of somewhere in the middle, maybe a little on the designer side. So I have to kind of warm up my brain a certain way to do flat out coding. It there's not really any magic advice I can give on that, other than once you figure out which way you think standard from the start, you can either make that work for you, or you can figure out training how to think, on the other side of the spectrum. Like I'll read random bits of code and try and figure them out to get myself into programming mode if I just need to do some coding or I'm debugging or whatever. But you just got to find what really works for you. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to some resources real quick. First off, lynda.com. If you haven't already checked this website out, it is an excellent, excellent resource. We actually get this website as part of our package at Full Sail. We get our code for it, and they have tons and tons of excellent video series. There is one that I do recommend before you start SDI though, and that's the JavaScript Essential Training 2011. And this is a really good introduction to JavaScript. Really in-depth but easy to follow videos. So definitely give that a look before you get going with your coding program or coding classes. And when it comes to the video tutorials, I always recommend that you watch stuff more than once. The reason why is you'll notice stuff that you didn't really catch on to the first or even the second or third time through, you'll start catching as you're watching it over and over again. So just keep watching them until you really start feeling comfortable. So let's go ahead and move on to w3schools.com. This is an excellent resource, but it is very technical manual type writing. So it's kind of dry, and it's also kind of hard to get around if you don't already know kind of what you're looking for already. But once you know where you're kind of going, it's an excellent resource. Same with the W3C. These are the guys that write the standards for HTML and all that stuff, so they really know their stuff. Again, it is kind of dry and kind of hard to get around if you don't already kind of know what you're looking for. So that leads me to my last one here. Stack Overflow is a really good resource, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. The reason why is it's a forum-based system, so there's a lot of bad information on there. And plus, there are some users that once they know that they're helping a student, they'll actually put bad information on there on purpose for, I don't even know why, they're bored or whatever. So it's a great resource to start at, but not a good final resource. So I find myself starting here a lot and then going to W3C or whatever. Googling is also a really good resource, and then just going from there. So I guess that's about it. This has been Eli Freestone, message in a bottle for PMA 3 1212. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.